everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today I am doing one of my favorite activities for the summer season. I am getting dwarf heirloom tomatoes planted directly into the 1 cubic foot bags of veggie mix. I started doing this a few years ago, really just as an experiment to see if it would work, and it worked fantastically. In fact, they were like my best tomatoes. And so ever since then, I've done it annually. And this year we just decided to go ahead and start fresh with 8 new bags. Actually, I'm going to be selling this during the spring open garden. They are $15 a bag, just like they are at the store. We've got 2 pallets staged in the driveway right there. And the process is really easy. All I'm going to do is poke some holes towards the bottom on all sides. I'm not actually puncturing the very bottom because I have root knot nematodes, and by not having holes in the very bottom, the nematodes won't be able to get up into the bag. I learned that lesson in year 1. So, well, frankly, let me just turn the camera around so that you can see up close how I do it. And, you know, though I know that it would probably look better in pots, really I do this as a way just to show people like the absolute simplest solution for growing tomatoes here in the Southeast. You don't even have to buy a container. You can literally just use the bag that the soil comes in. All right, let me turn the camera around and give you a close-up view. Okay, so obviously I had to cut the tops off, and now just with scissors, or you can use a knife, I am gonna just go in like that. Stab it 3 times all the way across, and I'm gonna do it on both the front and the back on every single bag. All right, now the planting process is not at all complicated. I'm just taking my favorite tool, the groundhog, and I'm gonna dig a nice kind of loose hole right in the middle. I'm not planting anything else with these. It's just gonna be 1 tomato per bag. That has definitely worked out to be the best ratio. And as you can see, we've got our tomato cages staged behind it. Since these are dwarf varieties, I don't actually know how big they really will get, but I want to make sure that we have the ability to keep them upright. So I'm just gonna take it out of the pot, loosen the bottom just a little bit. You really, when the roots look like this, they don't really need to be agitated all that much. And with tomatoes, you actually want to plant them as deep as possible, because the more stem that you have buried, the better root system will develop. So I'm just plucking off the bottom couple of leaves and then putting the soil cube right back around the base of the tomato, just like that. Then my final step will be to add mulch. I just use triple shred hardwood. This is the same mulch that I use in my gardens, and I'll just put a light layer down to ensure that the soil doesn't bounce back up onto the leaves and cause any sort of foliar problem. A really easy process. If you've not successfully grown tomatoes in the Southeast, you might really want to consider trying this method. Just plant in the grow bag, just add drainage holes towards the bottom, put them in full sun, and keep them watered. When I say keep them watered, I mean in the summer, you have to water these every single day, just like you would any other pot. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on time lapse so I can get the rest of these planted. And here is the finish line. Each tomato is a different variety. I did keep all the labels with them. And then as they grow, we will just pull one of these out, and then we will basically just have cages on both sides. That'll make it really easy to be able to, you know, keep the vines organized. I've never grown any of these dwarf varieties, so it'll be really interesting to see how they perform. I always have high hopes at this season. We'll see if they make it. So I know this is sort of a different take on container gardening, but from experience, this actually has been a very successful method for me. I always tell people though to like temper your expectations with tomatoes growing in the Southeast. We really don't have a good climate for them. They don't like the heat and the humidity. Often in summer, they stop fruiting because we're over 90 degrees every single day and they don't get pollinated. Tomatoes are better, sort of temperate. And here in Raleigh, North Carolina, you can't plant them too early because we're still too cold. I usually recommend planting tomatoes around summer solstice on June 21st. And then they're starting to produce usually like mid to late August, and they'll get you through all of the rest of fall when temperatures are a bit more regulated. So I've jumped the gun a bit early because I went to the farmer's market and I really needed to get these planted. But I can always reevaluate because we have a lot of seedlings that are just now germinating from when the class was here. And I'll always be able to do a second round of tomatoes and get them planted a month from now. Just so you know, like today is really one of the first days where it's really uncomfortable out, and actually my phone kept turning off in the process of making this video because it's so incredibly hot. It's one of those reminders of like, ooh, yeah, we have a long, hot season ahead, and you know, just I guess prepare yourself and be safe, drink lots of water. I do hope that we have better weather for the open garden on Saturday. Fingers crossed. And now I'm going to go ahead and get everything watered. I basically, that's the main task of the day at this stage. Not only everything that I'm potting now, but of course I have all of the stuff waiting for Saturday's sale. You can see there's all the vegetables that the kids sowed last week. And here's a good portion of plants that will be available for sale during the native plant sale on Saturday. I've got more, of course, out back on tables, and I have another order that will be arriving early next week. So I'm not running a nursery, but it sure looks like I am. And hopefully we'll have great weather and great attendance, and everybody will be able to go home happy with a bunch of cool new plants. And well, you can see behind me, the greenhouse is making progress. So not sure that it'll actually be finished for Saturday, but it is pretty exciting that you'll be able to see it really kind of looking more like what it's going to be now that they've gotten some of the plastic on. So I do hope that you'll plan to come for the open garden on May 11th from noon to 4 p.m. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and happy gardening, everybody.